Today we're here on the Island Road at Point-Aux-Chenes, Louisiana. We're going to have a second phase of our floating islands marsh creation. We're using a synthetic material, a mat, to anchor these marsh plants in to create new marsh immediately in open water. We're lucky today we're having children out from 3 different local schools to help us with the planning, not only to let them participate in their own community activities, but also to give them a little bit of knowledge of conservation about what we're trying to do down here as citizens to save our coast. This is a new technology that came to our attention about 2 years ago, to where this material is made from recycled soda bottles as a substrate to plant these marsh plants in. It gives them an anchoring point so they can get started, and the roots actually grow through this material and then anchor to the bottom where we locate these. So it's an exciting technology where we can create marshland today, immediately. We don't have to dredge and fill, we don't have to have heavy equipment. We can do this with school kids, and it's just a great project for the community.
This is the Coastal Conservation Association of Louisiana, our Bayou chapter, and our habitat building program, along with our partners at Shell Oil Company, Terrebonne Parish, Keep Terrebonne Beautiful, and Martin Ecosystems out here to rebuild the marsh today.
Tell us just how serious is the marsh erosion in this area?
It's no secret that it's a huge problem here in Louisiana, and it's something that affects every Louisianian across the coast. Right here, as a matter of fact, you can look out behind me and see the damage that erosion has caused to these communities over the years. What once was a very flourishing and thriving and thick, lush marsh is now mostly open water. And so what we're going to do today is try and add about 1,000 linear feet of 5-foot wide strips of this floating islands material, which will help not only break down the wave action, but create new shoreline that should sustain for quite a while.
What potential does the artificial floating islands offer for coastal protection?
We think that it has a great potential for long-term solutions to some of our coastal erosion problems. We know that it's sturdy, it's resilient. It did very well through Hurricane Isaac, for instance, last year. As a matter of fact, it continues to outperform the natural marsh. And it's very cost-effective for the cost of what we're doing here today. There's projects that are currently being implemented that are much more expensive and may not have the same effect. So we feel like it's a great tool for state managers and the Corps of Engineers to consider as we move forward with rebuilding our coast.
Phase 1 was in September of 2011. It was very successful. The plants immediately began to grow and thrive, and then we had the real test. Hurricane Isaac came last year in September, and we lost about 10% of the islands, but 90% of them survived, so we were very pleased with the outcome of that. It looks like they're very durable. We're trying a new anchoring system today, so we're very hopeful that this will be a long-term, durable project. Looking right over my shoulder, you can see some of the floating islands that we planted in 2011. You can see that they're still in good condition, growing well, vigorous, creating a block here. If you look over the mats, you can see the wave action. You can see how much energy there are in the waves out there, and then when you look on the back side here, where we are, how the energy's been dissipated, and that's the whole concept of this. These provide a barrier, slow down the wave energy, allow the sediments to come in, and also offer protection for the roadside that we're working on right here. So as we're planting the new mats for the second phase, the old mats are out there thriving, doing well established, created some new marshland right here along the Island Road in Point-Aux-Chenes.
This is in the Point-Aux-Chenes area, which is actually the worst area in Louisiana that's losing land because of the absence of fresh water in this area. It's the hardest area to produce fresh water too. So we have to try to rebuild land in every type of direction we can, and every type of means we have to build land. And this is one of the projects that we decided about 5 years ago would maybe be given a chance to see if it would work. We had the idea, mulled around for 3 or 4 years. The one thing that we really were missing was the funding. And luckily in 2011, CCA saw fit through Shell, through CCA, funded us about $60,000 to do this project to start it. We actually took that money and built it to about $130,000. We were able to do phase 1 of this project, which we wasn't sure would work in this type of environment with this wind condition. It actually survived Isaac with 92-mile-an-hour winds, so we really were surprised. We're now doing phase 2, again with the help of Shell through CCA, and CCA has been actually the big brother in this situation. They've helped us start the project, funding, and of course the news media down here. So without CCA, I don't think this project would have happened.
All the water you see behind us right now, other than this little canal right here, this canal was dug to make the road here, but everything that you see behind us was all land, not marshland, was land. We actually, my uncle, when he was a kid, they actually grew vegetables, potatoes, corn, carrots, beans, whatever, and they had cows on the pastures. But all of this right now that you see behind us is all water now because of the saltwater intrusion that has let salt water just come in and kill everything behind here. So the project today and is very important to our area, even though it's a little bitty small step, but before a baby can learn to walk, it has to crawl, and this being done today, with the help of all companies, Shell in particular, and CCA, and I know there's others, and I hate naming names because then you get caught in the trap, but we do appreciate them coming out, taking their time, and then giving people that hope that that something can be done to save our place on this earth.
Okay, right here over my shoulder, we used to be able to go hunting right up in there, and you didn't need blinds or anything. It was just the grass was so tall, you didn't need any blind,
What do you think of these kids getting involved in this project?
Oh, it's good. They really need to get involved and see what it's really like doing stuff like this. I really appreciate the people that's behind this doing this right here.
What I learned today was that saving our coast is really important, and that since that we're planting this marsh, it will really help the wildlife, the animals, and we will have a lot more marsh, and then it might help the marsh population go up a little bit, and that way people will be able to, we might still be able to still go hunting and fishing, and if we still can go, and if we can keep on doing like we did today by planting the marsh, we could pass that tradition on to our children, and then maybe pass it on to our grandchildren.
My job today was to plant plants and put them in the water to save the coast. And what I learned today is that if we don't save our coast, most of Louisiana will be gone, and then we can't fish or anything.
My job was today to plant plants and these big green things to help save the coast, because a man over there told me that in 2030, we're not gonna have no more land in Terrebonne Parish left to save and we need help to save the coast.
My job today was to plant plants for our environment, and after we planted them, we put them in the water, and it turned into like an island to float in the water to grow the plants.
What did you learn here today?
I learned that when you help your environment and do things for your environment, it makes a better world.
It's really important for our future and our wetlands, because a lot of people don't realize how much erosion it's doing. When they look back and they realize that they really don't know how much it did. So a lot of times they're going to try to do it like we are here today. We're trying to make a better difference for our future. We want our kids and our future and our grandkids to do the same activities we did in the wetlands. I love to go fishing in the wetlands, hunting, and I'm sure all my friends do too. And our fish industry have the habitats in our wetlands, so if our wetlands were to go away, the fish were to go away, and our economy would most likely be to crash.
I'm volunteering here today because I believe that it's very important to save our coast, because if it erodes, then most people won't have a place to live, and there'll be more poverty on the streets. And then all the animals who live in the coast, who live in the water, in the wetlands, won't have a habitat, and so many species could become endangered or become extinct.
Behind us, you see the mats that we're using today. They're made out of recycled PET plastic, and there's a company out in Georgia that manufactures the material, and we mold them together with a marine foam that's Coast Guard approved, and it's non-toxic to fish. And from there, you once you've molded them together, then you cut wicking channels that are used for your plants to drop your plugs in, and then also there are bushings that are designed on each end that we anchor from, and they were engineered to hold at least 3,600 pounds of capacity there. One of the most recent things we developed back in December was the anchoring, and we've changed from a POW-type driving anchor to a screw-type anchor that Energy's been using for years in the marsh, and makes a tremendous amount of sense, and it's so much easier to handle. So our crew has been here since Monday, putting all the anchors in and leaving buoys to mark them off, and then today was a matter of getting the plants in and floated out to the anchor sites.
What's your reaction when you see all this work being done?
Oh, it's exciting to see the kids, and knowing that most of them were here a year and a half ago, and worked with a similar project, and get them to come back out again this a year and a half later and participate. It's great to see them, and maybe the educational side that they could learn from taking plastic drinking bottles that they throw in a garbage can every day. We can take that same product and recycle it into something more useful in our coastal restoration efforts.
Our group's involvement in this project is a financial one, a partnership with CCA. Keep Terrebonne Beautiful had an opportunity to write a grant offered by Lowe's Community Improvement Grants and Keep America Beautiful. And one of the things that the grant could cover would be a wetland restoration project. And as a person who's vested in wetland restoration and very interested in it, I knew about this project ahead of time. So we wrote the grant, applied for it to put toward this project, and we were indeed awarded the grant.
And what's the grant paying for?
The grant is paying for the completion of 6 of these floating islands, and from planting all the way to installation.
What's your reaction to this project?
I participated in the project last year. I think it's a fabulous project. It's a great way for children to get involved hands-on without. There's a lot of liability involved when you take kids out into the marsh to do a wetland planting project. So this one enables them to be part of a marsh creation project in a safe environment and to feel like they're protecting their homes and giving back to their community.
NOAA's involved for a lot of reasons. We've been supporting the efforts of the Louisiana Coastal Conservation Association in their volunteer efforts to really become engaged in building coastal habitats through their programs that we see here with the floating marsh islands. And in addition to that, we've really been a part of this coast for so many decades and even hundreds of years in our early efforts to map and survey this coast, and obviously to mark and see the changes that are occurring. One of the important things about this whole project is bringing the public and the volunteers and school children into our coastal efforts, and that's really the future generations investment that we can see right here with these new marsh islands going into place and helping build an awareness not only through our organizations but also connecting our future generations to these efforts as well.
What's your reaction to everything that you've seen here today?
Oh, it's terrific. I mean, we just had a cold front go by. It's a little gusty and windy, but you've got school kids coming out. The volunteers are here. We're going to be cooking lunch for them as well. And it's really a terrific opportunity to get people out on the coast and see what they can do to be a part of all our efforts to help conserve these beautiful, beautiful wetland resources that we see right here.
Tell us a little bit about the work of CCA Louisiana.
Well, we continue to do our advocacy work across Louisiana when it comes to fisheries management and the conservation of our fisheries resources across the coast. It's very, very busy this time of year. We're in session in the capital at Baton Rouge, but more recently, as you know, we've gotten very heavy into habitat creation and habitat building with our artificial reefs across the coast. We've now built about a dozen of those beautiful artificial reefs all across Louisiana's coast, 8 to 10 acre reefs, most recently using recycled material from buildings, bridges, roadways, etc. And now this is the second phase of our marsh program, where we're actually out here rebuilding the marsh across Louisiana's coast.
What's your reaction to everything that you've seen and heard here today?
Well, it's great. It's a little cold, it's a little windy, it's a little wet, but the spirit of the volunteers we have here today are not dampened at all. Everybody's excited. We're ready to go. We're ready to start rebuilding Louisiana's marsh 1 foot at a time.
This is just fantastic to have the community participation. Not only are we having 3 schools out today, we're also having some of the local community. This is a Native American community in this area, and we're hoping to have some participation from them also. They're very big supporters of what we're doing. We're trying to protect this road that goes to their community. This road gets devastated every time a hurricane comes through, and creating this buffer along the road here with these islands should be a great benefit for them.
If people have questions, like more information about the project, what should they do?
Go to our website, ccalouisiana.com, and you'll see a full description about the floating islands. We have a link on there that says Save the Coast $1 at a time. So if you care to donate to further ongoing projects or to defray costs of this, go to our website, ccalouisiana.com.